Hey there, sports fans! Noah here with some exciting news from the world of basketball. We've got a packed show for you today, so make sure you stick around till the end. We'll be diving into Sabrina Ionescu's heartwarming birthday tribute to her husband, followed by some buzz about her gold medal game shoes that's got Sneakerheads talking. And to cap it off, we'll check out Steph Curry's latest fashion statement that's taking the basketball world by storm. But first, let's jump into our main story. Fresh off her Olympic gold medal win with Team USA, Sabrina is making headlines again. But this time, it's for a touching personal moment. The New York Liberty Guard took to Instagram to share a birthday tribute to her husband, Hroniss Grasu, and let me tell you, it's got everyone talking. Now, if you're not familiar with Hroniss Grasu, he's an NFL free agent who most recently played for the Las Vegas Raiders. These two lovebirds tied the knot back in March of this year, but their relationship goes back to August 2021 when they first went Instagram official. In her post, Sabrina didn't hold back on the affection, calling Grasu her sweet, kind, tequila-loving husband. And speaking of tequila, she included a hilarious clip of Grasu whipping up some drinks for the two of them. Let's just say, he seems to have a pretty generous pour when it comes to tequila. But hey, who are we to judge? What's really caught people's attention is how Sabrina is balancing her professional success with her personal life. I mean, think about it. She's just come off an incredible Olympic run, bringing home the gold for Team USA, and here she is, taking the time to celebrate her husband's birthday. It's a reminder that even our sports heroes have lives off the court, and it's pretty cool to get a glimpse into that side of things. Now, let's rewind a bit and talk about that wedding. Sabrina and Grasu tied the knot in Laguna Niguel, California, back in March. From what Sabrina's shared, it sounds like it was quite the event. She's still getting used to calling Grasu her husband, which, let's be honest, is pretty adorable. But it wasn't just about the ceremony itself. Sabrina opened up about how special it was to have family members visiting from Romania. They got to spend time with the newlyweds and do some sightseeing in places like San Francisco and Las Vegas. It's those little details that really paint a picture of how meaningful this whole experience was for Sabrina. Now, let's talk about Sabrina's professional life for a moment. This past off-season was a bit different for her. Instead of diving straight into intense training, she made a conscious decision to enjoy her time away from the court. She focused on herself and her relationship with Grasu, making the most of their overlapping off-seasons. It's a reminder of how demanding the life of a professional athlete can be. Once the regular season kicks in, free time becomes a luxury. So, it's pretty cool to see Sabrina prioritizing that work-life balance. It's something we don't always think about when we're watching these athletes perform at the highest level. Speaking of performing at the highest level, let's not forget about Sabrina's incredible performance in the Olympics. She was a key player in Team USA's gold medal run, showcasing the same dynamic playmaking and shot-making skills we've seen from her in the WNBA. It's clear that her time away from the court didn't dull her competitive edge one bit. In fact, if we look at her stats from this WNBA season, Sabrina's been putting up some impressive numbers. Through 24 games, she's shooting 42.2% from the field and 34.5% from beyond the arc. Those are solid numbers that show she's continuing to be a force to be reckoned with on the court. But what's really interesting is how Sabrina's managing to balance her professional success with her personal life. It's not easy being in the spotlight, especially when you're at the top of your game. The pressure to perform, the constant travel, the media attention, it can all take a toll. Yet, here's Sabrina, not only excelling on the court, but also taking the time to celebrate personal milestones and share them with her fans. It's this kind of openness that really helps fans connect with athletes on a more personal level. Sure, we love watching Sabrina drain threes and make incredible passes, but seeing her share moments from her wedding or post a goofy video of her husband making drinks, that's the stuff that makes athletes feel more relatable, more human. And let's not forget about Grasu in all of this. Being married to a high-profile athlete comes with its own set of challenges. The travel, the pressure, the public attention, it's not for everyone. But from what we can see, Grasu seems to be taking it all in stride. That clip of him pouring tequila, It shows a guy who's comfortable in his own skin and not afraid to have a bit of fun. It's also worth noting how Sabrina and Grasu are navigating their careers together. Both are professional athletes, which means they understand the unique pressures and demands that come with the job. That shared experience can be invaluable in a relationship, especially when both partners are in the public eye. Now, I know some of you might be thinking, Noah, why are we spending so much time talking about an athlete's personal life? And that's a fair question. But here's the thing. Sports aren't just about what happens on the court or field. They're about the stories, the personalities, the human elements that make us connect with these athletes. When we see someone like Sabrina balancing Olympic gold with a heartfelt birthday post for her husband, it adds depth to our understanding of who she is as a person. It makes her achievements on the court feel even more impressive because we get a sense of everything else she's juggling in her life. Plus, let's be real, who doesn't love a good love story, especially when it involves tequila and professional athletes? But let's bring it back to basketball for a moment. Ionescu's success with Team USA is a big deal. Winning an Olympic gold medal is the pinnacle of achievement for many athletes, and to do it in her first Olympic appearance? That's something special. It's also a testament to how quickly Sabrina has risen to the top of her sport. Remember, she was the #1 overall pick in the 2020 WNBA draft. In just a few short years, she's become not only a star in the WNBA, but also a key player on the international stage. That's the kind of trajectory that suggests we're watching a generational talent develop right before our eyes. And let's not forget about the impact Sabrina is having off the court. By sharing glimpses of her personal life, she's helping to humanize professional athletes. She's showing young fans that it's possible to be both a world-class athlete and a regular person who celebrates birthdays and enjoys time with family. This kind of openness can be especially powerful for young girls who dream of following in Ionescu's footsteps. Seeing a successful female athlete balance her professional and personal life can be incredibly inspiring. It sends the message that you don't have to choose between being great at your sport and having a fulfilling personal life. You can have both. As we wrap up this part of our show, I think it's worth reflecting on how stories like this one add to the rich tapestry of sports narratives. Yes, the games themselves are exciting, and the stats are important. But it's these human moments, a gold medalist taking time to celebrate her husband's birthday, a glimpse into the off-court life of a star player, that really bring the world of sports to life. Ionescu's story is still being written, both on and off the court. As she continues to excel in the WNBA and on the international stage, it'll be interesting to see how her personal life evolves alongside her professional achievements. Will we see more tequila pouring videos? More insights into how she and Grasu balance their athletic careers? Only time will tell. But for now, we can appreciate this moment. A star athlete, fresh off Olympic glory, taking the time to share a bit of her personal joy with the world. It's a reminder that behind every incredible athletic achievement, there's a human story waiting to be told. And speaking of incredible athletic achievements, we've got plenty more to discuss today. Coming up next, we'll be diving into the buzz surrounding Sabrina Ionescu's gold medal game shoes. Sneakerheads are going wild over these kicks, and we've got all the details. Now, moving on from Sabrina Ionescu's heartwarming personal moments, let's shift our focus back to the court, or more specifically, to what's on her feet. Folks, we've got some serious sneaker talk coming your way, and trust me, this is one story that's got the internet buzzing. Remember those gold medal games we were just talking about? Well, it turns out Sabrina wasn't just making waves with her play on the court. Her choice of footwear for that final showdown against France has got sneakerheads around the world sitting up and taking notice. For the gold medal game, Sabrina laced up in a pair of gold medal Nike Sabrina 2PEs. Now, if you're not deep into the sneaker game, PE stands for Player Edition, meaning these kicks were specifically designed for Sabrina. And let me tell you, these shoes are not just functional, they're a statement piece. The reaction on social media has been nothing short of electric. Instagram is lighting up with comments from fans and sneaker enthusiasts alike, and the verdict is pretty much unanimous. These shoes are fire, but don't just take my word for it. let's dive into what people are saying. One fan couldn't help but draw a connection to another basketball legend, commenting, "Every time I see them, I think Kobe. They fire though." It's a powerful comparison, linking Ionescu's shoes to one of the greatest to ever play the game. And let's be real, anytime your gear is being mentioned in the same breath as Kobe Bryant's, you know you're doing something right. But the Kobe comparisons are just the tip of the iceberg. Another fan went so far as to say, "Yo, she might have the best signature across the board right now." That's high praise in the world of signature sneakers, where competition is fierce and new designs are constantly hitting the market. And it's not just casual fans getting in on the action. Serious sneakerheads are taking notice too. One commenter stated, "She low-key got one of the best signature sneakers." When you've got the hardcore sneaker community singing your praises, you know you've hit on something special. But perhaps the most striking comment came from a fan who simply said, "Best shoes in sports." Not just in basketball, not just in women's sports, but in all of sports. That's a bold claim. But looking at these shoes, it's not hard to see why someone might make it. The praise just keeps coming. Another fan chimed in with, "She got some of the best kicks in the league," while someone else took it a step further, saying, "Better than majority of the men's that signed on to the brand." These comments highlight something really interesting. Ionescu's shoes aren't just being compared to other women's basketball shoes. They're being held up against the best that the entire sport has to offer, regardless of gender. Now, let's take a moment to appreciate what this means in the broader context of women's sports. For years, women athletes have often been an afterthought when it comes to signature shoes and gear. Many brands would simply shrink and pink men's designs rather than creating unique products for women athletes. But with shoes like Ionescu's gold medal Nike Sabrina 2PEs, we're seeing a shift in that dynamic. These shoes aren't just functional athletic gear. They're not just smaller versions of men's shoes with a splash of traditionally feminine colors. They're unique, stylish, and clearly designed with both performance and aesthetics in mind. And the response from fans shows that there's a real appetite for this kind of product. It's a testament to Ionescu's star power, sure, but it's also a sign of changing times in the world of sports marketing. Brands are recognizing that women athletes can drive shoe sales just as effectively as their male counterparts. And fans are responding, showing that there's a market not just for women's sports, but for women's sports gear. But let's not get too caught up in the business side of things. At the end of the day, what we're talking about here is a really cool pair of shoes. The gold medal colorway is clearly a nod to the Olympic stage where Sabrina wore them, but it's more than just a gimmick. These shoes manage to be both eye-catching and classy, striking that perfect balance between flash and sophistication. And let's not forget the performance aspect. While we're all obsessing over how these shoes look, it's important to remember that they're designed for elite-level play. Sabrina wore these while competing against the best basketball players in the world, on the biggest stage in sports. They're not just for show, they're built to perform under pressure. Speaking of performance, let's talk about how Sabrina fared in these now famous shoes. In the gold medal game against France, she played 10 minutes off the bench, grabbing 2 rebounds and dishing out 3 assists. Now, those might not be eye-popping numbers, but in a game of that magnitude, every contribution counts. It's worth noting that this Olympic gold adds to an already impressive list of accomplishments for Ionescu. She previously won gold with Team USA at the 2022 FIBA World Cup, meaning she now has 2 major international titles under her belt. Not too shabby for a player who's still in the early years of her professional career. But let's bring it back to the shoes for a moment. What is it about these particular kicks that's got everyone talking? Well, for one, there's the colorway. Gold is always eye-catching, but it's particularly fitting for a shoe worn in an Olympic gold medal game. It's bold without being gaudy, striking that perfect balance between flash and class. Then there's the design itself. From what we can see in the photos, these shoes seem to prioritize both style and function. They've got a sleek, modern look, but you can tell they're built for performance. The attention to detail is evident, from the texture of the upper to the shape of the sole. But beyond the physical attributes of the shoe, there's something else at play here. These shoes represent a moment, a crowning achievement in Ionescu's career. They're not just footwear. They're a piece of sports history. When fans look at these shoes, they're not just seeing a cool design. They're seeing the shoes that Sabrina Ionescu wore when she won Olympic gold. That connection to a significant moment in sports history adds an extra layer of appeal for sneaker enthusiasts. It's not uncommon for shoes worn during historic games or championship runs to become highly sought after. Just think about the buzz that surrounds game-worn Jordan sneakers, for example. While we don't know yet if these exact shoes will be released to the public, it's clear that there's a demand for Ionescu's signature line. The response to these gold medal PEs suggests that if Nike were to release a similar colorway, they'd likely fly off the shelves. But even if these exact shoes never make it to market, the buzz they've generated is significant. It's driving interest not just in Ionescu's signature line, but in women's basketball sneakers as a whole. That's good news for female athletes, for the sneaker industry, and for fans who want more options when it comes to basketball shoes. It's also worth noting how this kind of attention can impact an athlete's brand. Signature shoes are big business in the basketball world, and having a line that generates this kind of excitement can be a game changer for an athlete's off-court earnings. If Ionescu continues to release shoes that resonate this strongly with fans and sneakerheads, it could open up a whole new avenue for her career beyond her on-court achievements. Now, I know some of you might be thinking, Noah, it's just a pair of shoes. Why are we spending so much time talking about this? And I get it. In the grand scheme of things, footwear might seem like a small detail. But in the world of sports, and especially in basketball culture, shoes are so much more than just what athletes wear on their feet. Sneakers are a form of self-expression. They're a way for athletes to showcase their personality, to make a statement without saying a word. And for fans, collecting and wearing these shoes is a way to connect with their favorite players and teams. It's a huge part of basketball culture, and seeing a women's signature shoe generate this kind of buzz is a big deal. It's also a sign of the growing popularity and influence of women's basketball. The WNBA has been seeing increased viewership and interest in recent years, and moments like this, where a women's basketball shoe is being hailed as potentially the best in sports, are both a result of that growing interest and a driver of it. Think about it this way. A kid who sees these shoes and thinks they're cool might be inspired to watch Ionescu play. They might start following women's basketball more closely. They might even dream of having their own signature shoe one day. That's the power of moments like this. They can inspire the next generation of players and fans. And let's not forget the impact this can have on Ionescu herself. As an athlete, knowing that fans are this excited about your signature gear has got to be a confidence booster. It's validation not just of your play on the court, but of your influence and marketability off it. Sabrina is making waves in the sport, and it's clear that fans are here for it. Whether you're a sneakerhead, a basketball fan, or just someone who appreciates seeing athletes succeed both on and off the court, there's something to celebrate here. And speaking of celebrations, we've got one more story to get to today, and it's a good one. We're going to be talking about how Steph Curry is bringing his iconic Night Night celebration to the international stage with a French twist that's got everyone talking. Now, moving on from Sabrina Ionescu's sneaker sensation, let's shift our focus to another basketball superstar who's making waves both on and off the court. That's right, folks. We're talking about none other than Steph Curry. The Golden State Warriors sharpshooter has been turning heads not just with his incredible play during the Olympics, but also with a fashionable twist on his iconic celebration. If you've been following basketball for any length of time, you're probably familiar with Curry's Night Night celebration. It's become his signature move, a way of letting everyone know that he's just closed out a game with one of his trademark daggers from downtown. But here's where things get interesting. Curry's taken this celebration and given it a distinctly French flavor for the Paris Olympics. Picture this. Team USA has just secured the gold medal with a convincing 98-87 victory over France. The arena is electric, the crowd is going wild, and there's Steph Curry standing tall with his gold medal, wearing a custom blue hoodie with the words Nuit Nuit emblazoned across it. Now, for those of you who might be a bit rusty on your French, Nuit Nuit is a direct translation of Night Night. It's a clever play on words that pays homage to the host country while staying true to Curry's established brand. And let me tell you, this little linguistic twist has got people talking. Curry took to Instagram to share a photo of himself in this new hoodie, proudly displaying his gold medal. The caption? A simple but effective. "You all get this gold medal content. #Nuit Nuit." It's classic Curry, playful, a little cheeky, but also unmistakably cool. But here's where things get even more interesting. Our girl Sabrina Ionescu, fresh off her own gold medal win and sneaker success, chimed in on Curry's post. Her comment? A straightforward Nuit Nuit that shows she's fully on board with this new twist on Curry's catchphrase. Now, let's take a moment to appreciate the significance of this interaction. We're seeing two of basketball's brightest stars, both fresh off Olympic gold medal wins, connecting over a clever bit of wordplay. It's a reminder of how social media has changed the way athletes interact, both with fans and with each other. But more than that, it's a testament to Curry's influence on the game. Here's a guy who's not just changing the way basketball is played with his long-range shooting, but he's also influencing the culture around the sport. From his signature moves on the court to his celebrations, and now his fashion choices, Curry continues to set trends that others are quick to follow. Speaking of his impact on the court, let's talk about Curry's performance in that gold medal game. The man was on fire, especially when it mattered most. In the last 3 minutes of the game, with France threatening to make a comeback, Curry drilled 4 three-pointers to slam the door shut on any hopes of a French upset. His final stat line? 24 points, 5 assists, and 2 steals. But those numbers, impressive as they are, don't tell the whole story. It was the timing of Curry's shots, the way he took over the game when his team needed him most, that really stood out. And of course, after his final three-pointer of the night, he treated the crowd to his signature Nuit Nuit celebration. It's moments like these that remind us why Curry is considered one of the greatest shooters, if not the greatest, in basketball history. The pressure of an Olympic gold medal game, with the whole world watching, that's when Curry shines brightest. It's almost as if the bigger the stage, the more comfortable he becomes. But let's get back to this Nuit Nuit hoodie for a moment. It's more than just a clever bit of wordplay or a fashion statement. It represents Curry's ability to connect with fans across cultural and linguistic barriers. By adapting his catchphrase to French, he's showing respect for the host country while maintaining his own unique brand. And make no mistake, this is brand building at its finest. Those Nuit Nuit hoodies? They're already in high demand. Fans are clamoring to get their hands on them, seeing them as the perfect souvenir to commemorate this Olympic triumph. It's a masterclass in how athletes can leverage their on-court success to create off-court opportunities. But beyond the marketing aspect, there's something genuinely cool about seeing an athlete embrace the local culture like this. It's a reminder that the Olympics are about more than just competition. They're about bringing people together, about celebrating our differences while recognizing our common humanity. And sometimes, that celebration can take the form of a blue hoodie with a bilingual pun. Now, let's take a moment to consider the relationship between Curry and Ionescu. These two aren't just random athletes commenting on each other's posts. They have a history. Remember back in February when they faced off in the first ever NBA versus WNBA three-point contest at the All-Star Weekend? Curry may have edged out Ionescu in that competition, but it was clear that there was mutual respect between these two sharpshooters. In fact, there's been talk of a rematch between Curry and Ionescu. Both athletes have hinted at the possibility, and fans are absolutely here for it. It's this kind of cross-pollination between the NBA and WNBA that helps grow the game and bring more eyes to women's basketball. And speaking of growing the game, let's not overlook the significance of Ionescu's gold medal win. This was her first appearance at the Olympics, and she didn't just participate. She played a key role in Team USA's success. Over the course of the tournament, Ionescu averaged 5.5 points, 1.8 rebounds, and 3.3 assists per game, shooting an impressive 42% from the field. But perhaps more important than the stats was the experience Ionescu gained. Playing alongside and against the best players in the world on the biggest stage in international sports, That's the kind of experience that can elevate a player's game to the next level. Don't be surprised if we see an even more dominant Ionescu when the WNBA season resumes. Now, let's circle back to Curry for a moment. His performance in the Olympics was a reminder of why he's considered one of the most electrifying players in the game. But it's not just his on-court heroics that make him special, it's the way he carries himself off the court, the way he interacts with fans and fellow athletes, the way he's able to have fun while still maintaining that killer competitive edge. Take that Nuit Nuit celebration, for example. It's playful, it's fun, but make no mistake, it's also a statement. When Curry drops that celebration, he's letting everyone know that he just closed the door on any hopes the opposition might have had. It's confidence bordering on cockiness, but delivered with such charm that you can't help but appreciate it. And let's not forget the impact Curry has on his teammates. Throughout the Olympic tournament, you could see the lift he gave to Team USA whenever he was on the court. His gravity, the way he pulls defenders towards him, just by virtue of being a threat to score from anywhere past half court, creates opportunities for his teammates. It's a big part of why Team USA was so dominant throughout the tournament. But perhaps the most impressive thing about Curry is his consistency. At 36 years old, an age when many players start to slow down, he's still performing at an elite level. This Olympic performance isn't an outlier. It's just the latest in a long line of stellar showings from one of the game's all-time greats. As we look ahead, it's exciting to think about what's next for both Curry and Ionescu. They're at different stages of their careers. Curry, the established superstar, Ionescu, the rising phenom, but both seem poised for continued success. And with both of them now having Olympic gold medals to their names, the sky truly is the limit. For Curry, the question is how much longer he can maintain this incredible level of play. If his Olympic performance is any indication, he's showing no signs of slowing down. Warriors fans will be hoping he can bring some of that golden touch back to the NBA as they look to make another championship run. As for Ionescu, this Olympic experience could be a launching pad to even greater heights. She's already one of the most exciting players in the WNBA, but with an Olympic gold medal now on her resume, her star is set to rise even further. It'll be fascinating to see how she builds on this success in the coming WNBA seasons. But regardless of what the future holds, one thing is clear. Both Curry and Ionescu have left their mark on these Olympics. From Curry's clutch shooting and Nuit Nuit celebration to Ionescu's solid all-around play and headline-grabbing sneakers, they've given basketball fans plenty to talk about. From Sabrina Ionescu's gold medal-winning sneakers to Steph Curry's Nuit Nuit hoodie, we've seen how basketball culture extends far beyond the confines of the court. These athletes aren't just players. They're icons, trendsetters, and cultural influencers. And as fans, we get to come along for the ride, celebrating their triumphs, analyzing their games, and yes, coveting their gear. That's all we've got for you today on Sports Day Tribune. From Olympic triumphs to fashion statements, from clutch performances to cultural exchanges, it's been a wild ride. Thanks for joining us, and remember, whether it's Night Night, Nuit Nuit, or whatever comes next, the world of basketball never fails to entertain. Until next time, this is Noah signing off.